Says it's live.
And we're live. Hello, 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 friends. This is Leela here. And I have one of my best friends, my accountability partner, my colleague, the creator of the Pressure Free Method, worldwide speaker, author, and high performance coach, Elle Ingalls. Hello, darling. Hello, hello, hello. So I'm going to go over to the Facebook page and see if I can see if anybody's on.
Okay.
Looks like somebody on. What's up, girlfriend?
Wonderful.
About how to show up as the real you.
The real you. Yeah, Leela proposed we do this topic, and I remember the first time after a speaking engagement, someone emailed me that night, and in capital letters they said, "Thank you for being the real you. Thank you for being real with us." And I think that that's something that's sometimes missing in the marketplace. There's a lot of hype, there's a lot of adrenaline, but you and I bring something really unique.
Yeah, and
we do.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this morning on my morning walk before our call, and it just popped in my head. And you know, the one compliment or comment that I get the most is, "I love how real you are."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The way that I'm curious, I would love to start out, like for me, I'll share what I feel, but I'd love to ask you, what does it mean to be real? Like, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm. You want me to say now, or are you going to go first?
Yeah, I'd be curious to ask you first. You're my guest, darling.
I think what it means is that we have a willingness to share our mess as well as how to get you out of the mess. And we are also, because we've worked really hard and throughout our entire life on creating our lives, there's a congruency from the inside to the outside. We match. People feel that. So for example, I have a new client in Australia actually, and she said to me, the reason I chose you as a coach is because you seem to your inside and outside matches. You're not trying to pull one over on me, or I don't feel like you're trying to sell me anything. You're just being real and you're sharing your expertise.
I'm going to step in, not that selling anything's bad. I love to be sold to.
Oh yeah, yes, right, exactly.
Sell me all day.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that's me being real right now. I'm like, we're going to stop that because this is my channel and we're going to tell everybody it's a good thing to sell.
It is a good thing to sell. Yeah. Absolutely.
Selling means helping people.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And when
I love this congruency thing. I think this is kind of the same thing when I think about it. It's, there's two things. It's from the essence piece, you walk your talk, right? The inner and the outer is congruent. You walk your talk. And that's what I love, when I first got into the bowspring, or when I first got into environmental work, or I first got into all sorts of things, I really embraced it right away in my life. I used to do environmental work, and lots of people didn't really have an environmental mindset at home and their day-to-day lives. It was interesting to me. And even the yoga world, I found a lot of people were saying one thing in the studio or on the mat and then doing something different outside. So there was incongruency. And I'm like, it's interesting. And I can also be sometimes so congruent, like so inner outer match, a little rigid, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I have to learn how to be flexible in life too. And then I think the other thing, there's like this congruency, like you're saying, or walk in our talk. And then I feel like what people really love about us, or anybody who's real, and this word authenticity gets floats around a lot.
Yep.
Is somebody who not only lives it and walks it, but is willing to stand up for it and share it.
Yeah.
Like, right. I'll speak my truth, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's unpopular, because I'm so in alignment with my own personal truth. Doesn't have to be somebody else's, right?
Right.
But I'm so in alignment with it that I'm like, it doesn't matter if somebody doesn't like it or not. I'm so speak it from the rooftops.
Well, and that's really something about not only that authentic piece, which is really important. We know that not everyone is going to resonate with us. And when I first was actually allowed to be in the conducting seminar at Michigan, the first lesson we got from our professor was, if you want to be liked, get out of the room. Because anyone who's moving into a leadership zone, half the people are going to hate you if you're doing it right, because you're not afraid to be the real you. And I think it's kind of like 80-20. 80% of the people are going to like you, but there's going to be 20% in the room that don't. I actually called this out. I was giving a talk to the Society of Risk Managers in Detroit, Michigan. So this was Chrysler, Blue Cross Blue Shield, like all these people who were running the insurance of all these companies. And a fascinating group. And I was introduced as a U of M grad, and we were at a Michigan State facility. So immediately,
if anybody's not from the Midwest, you'll understand what she just said is basically, she was announced as coming from one school, one university, and this was at a rival university. So you're all of a sudden set up for a sense of potential failure.
Yes, exactly. So I just called it out. And I said, okay, that means like half of you people are already deciding you're not liking me. And everybody laughed. And that's being real. It was like so funny because I just called it out. And you know, there were people in their green and white. So
you're over there in your maize and blue. Maize and blue, if anybody knows Michigan, that's what maize.
It was really funny. And so just kind of calling out those things. And another example is I was talking to a mom's group, and I shared my worst parenting moment with them. And it actually brought me and some other people to tears, you know, sharing it. But this was my worst parenting moment. And it's when I realized that we just pile on the stress so much that we get to a breaking point. We do something really stupid, or we act out of character. And really,
I'll tell you, everybody, just so you know, I've heard the story of Elle's worst parenting moment, and I feel for her because I know how painful it is for her.
Right.
And at the same time, there's this little piece inside of me that kind of chuckles because it doesn't really seem that big of a deal to me.
Right.
I'm like, you didn't really do anything that big of a deal. Like, you literally didn't even do anything that big of a deal.
Oh.
And at the same time, it was a big deal. So it's all
very traumatic for my kids because they had never seen that out of me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So I just want to give perspective, though, just to let everybody know, like, there's a scale, and the way Elle's kind of portraying herself right now, she didn't light a house on fire or anything crazy. Like, she
yeah.
Relative, yeah. You were
right.
Definitely elevated in your stress, and so that's actually a good. Let's just kind of go in here a little bit, because what I'm hearing is that, and there was a moment where you were actually not the real you.
That was the stressed out me to the max. To the max.
So I heard you say, like, you know, we pile things on, right? And so I know a lot of my audience, a lot of people that I work with, a lot of people I'm connected with, they'll feel that same thing, like they keep piling it on. And I do too, right? I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a creative being. I am a grower. So I'm always piling things on and stuff. And so it can be, if I let it, I didn't have the pressure-free method, then a lot of that stuff would actually weigh me down, and I would snap and do something, right? But that doesn't really happen. I can maintain. So talk about that a little bit, about this idea, like, you know, so we're hosting an event August 28th, next Wednesday. We'll come, we'll feed you dinner. It's from 4 to 7. You're going to learn from Elle. She's flying in. Whoop, whoop. Flying in, girl. And really, she's here to help you learn how to not release stress hormones in your body. And like she said, there's many of you who might be piling things on. So this might feel like something else you got to pile on. What I would say is this 3 hours could save you dozens and dozens and dozens of hours later.
Yeah, absolutely.
And relationship, you can learn how to not pull a worst mom ever moment like Elle did back 20 years ago or whatever, you know, like before the pressure-free method. So can you talk a little bit about this whole idea of, putting pressure on and all?
Yeah. And I love what you said about finding the real you. I don't feel like I found the real me until 2010 when I created this method. I thought I was a pretty calm. I was an executive for years. I thought I had my crap together. and but I was missing a really key thing. I don't get very anxious and I don't get very angry, but I get annoyed at a lot of things. And so it's annoyance that I had to work on. And then I started to notice all these other things. So what I'll be doing on Wednesday is kind of opening up your awareness so that you start to see some things about yourself that you might have never seen.
Can you talk about the idea of piling things on? Because this is
yeah.
what people were dealing with, like you were.
Absolutely. So like a lot of people in our age groups, you're doing this, you've got a business, you're taking care of kids, you're taking care of adults because your parents need help. You're sandwiched in, and that's all piling on you. And you feel like you're pulled in so many different directions. You've got your own health issues.
Trying to figure out what food to eat, what to wear, how to exercise.
Social media telling you what to do and how crappy your life is because you never get to take a vacation because you're trying to scramble for money. Whatever your pressures are, they really take a look at how many are piling on you. It's really amazing that we're doing as well as we are. And so then when you can learn to not release the fight or flight stress response in your body, don't release those hormones, everything changes. You can actually think clearly to make better decisions. As Leela said, I saved up to an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. And it was about the 6 week into using my method every day, as much as I could, that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have an extra hour and a half to 2 hours every day. What is that? Because we're in so much negativity and we don't even realize it. And it's that piles of stuff that are keeping our brain going all these different directions. It's the overwhelm.
So I love this idea. So we're in so much negativity and we don't even know it. I love this because it's not really positivity that we're trying to help people get into, because that can actually be overboard too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what Elle does, and a lot of the work that I do with people with their businesses and with their body, is that we help people find that middle ground, that sweet space. That's the real you.
That's the real
You're
you.
not uber jazzed all the time, positive, all light and sunshine and flowers and rainbows. And you're also not the stressed out Sally, stressed out Steve, right? Where it's just like angsty and overwhelmed and annoyed, or just kind of like looking like you got it together, but inside it's like, whoa, right? We know a lot of that goes on. Everybody's like, got it together, totally. And you talk to them, they're like, oh my God, down and knock it down. So, we're not meant to be in that all the time either. We're meant to be, maybe sometimes in the excited high, and sometimes in that maybe low, but most of the time in the middle place, which is really present. It's the brightest version of you without you feeling weighed down, but the brightest version of you without being too bright, right? You've been in that. We've both been in both spaces, right? We've all been in different spaces.
Yeah, so if you move overexcited, you release too much adrenaline too. It's like if you go to certain motivational speaker events, they can actually cause you to be sick because it's like so much adrenaline. You come out and you're exhausted. And I just met another person who this happened to them, and they were really, really harmed by the over excitement. And a lot of people who have businesses and they go to sales team meetings and stuff, they get that rah, 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 and then they get out of there and then they get sick for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Their immune system drops so much after the adrenaline phase. It's like not good to be there either.
That must come down.
Yeah.
That must come down. It just is. It's so
and wait, I'm gonna stop you there for just a sec. So if you can break there are these bands. I call it the sweet spot, which is actually above where you usually are, like the okay to good. I call it your genius zone. But you've got to break through some limiting beliefs to get into that space.
And some patterns.
Yep. And if you can move into that space, that is the sweet spot where you literally feel calm and exhilarated all day.
Calm exhilaration.
That's what we're after, pressure free.
Peaceful. You're peaceful. So what the whole reason we talk about this is because we both have businesses. We both are connectors in the world. We love people, right? You have family, I've got, friends and family, and we've got all these business colleagues around the world, and really just connected with all these people, and we really love what we do. And if we were in stress hormones, if we had stress and we had adrenaline and cortisol going through our body, we wouldn't be able to grow our businesses at such a fast rate.
No.
We wouldn't be able to serve as many people as we do each year.
No, it's true.
Right? We wouldn't be able to come up with new ideas and create even more. We would probably stay kind of status quo for longer. Growing and expanding and doing more. And I think most entrepreneurs, most people want that steady growth in life. And it's really hard to keep growing when you're in fight or flight, when you're all the chemicals in your body are telling you like, oh God, it's not safe. I better just stay right here because if not, I might die. So what Elle does, it's like there's this reptilian part of you that's getting in the way of being the real you, the soul level you. Okay. Yeah. And that reptilian fight or flight is coming through you as in chemicals, as stress hormones. Yeah. Elle knows how. She's come up with a way, the missing link, and then there's all these tools she helps you with to figure out how to get that little reptilian piece of you to stop controlling the game and let your soul start to shine, right? That's really what's going down in Monkey Town here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, because once we go into that phase, we feel threatened by almost anything. And that will close you off from some of the most incredible things that could happen in your life, like having a really rich relationship with someone.
Yeah. Reaching out to a client, applying for a new job, going to an event, applying for that speaking. I have a lot of people who are in the yoga world. Maybe you want to teach at a festival, and you just haven't sent the application in yet because the reptilian part of you is saying it's too scary, and then you release stress hormones, and then it takes you out, and it does it over and over and over again. Instead of your soul being able to shine its brightest potential when you're here. You see, I'm getting all serious. I'm like super passionate about this all of a sudden. It's just coming through me. I'm just like channeling this. I'm like, it's so key. I can't express it enough and I'm just going to go one more soapbox and then I got a question for you.
Okay.
This is your soapbox I'm actually standing on, but
I'll share it with you.
Yeah, girl. There's this myth in America, myth in our world, that we have to deal with stress. We just have to manage it. There's stress and we have to manage it. It's false. It's the biggest mistake you could do. You could fall into right now is believing that you have to deal with stress. You don't. Now, you have to choose responses to stressors, but you don't have to have stress hormones in your body. You don't have to have stress and then deal with it later. You can actually prevent it in the first.
That's right.
So what's up with that, girl?
Yeah. And that big myth, if everything you read about stress is wrong.
It's wrong.
It is wrong. So it's like, okay, you need to meditate morning and night to get rid of your stress. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. Once you trigger fight or flight, it takes your body hours to get back to normal. No meditation is going to help with that. It might make you feel better in the short term, but you have got to learn how to stop releasing these stress hormones. You're burning out your adrenals. America is burning out its adrenals. And that's messing up every other system in your body, every system, your digestion, we never had these digestive problems 50 years ago. There was only one person in my entire growing up that I knew that had a food allergy. One person. And I knew a lot of kids. What is that?
The body's like freaking out.
We are a mess today, and it's because people think, oh, here's another little myth. If I'm not busy enough, people aren't going to think I'm working. So I'm going to get fired because I'm not busy enough. Busy is not a word that you'll ever have to use to describe yourself again when you become pressure free. You will do more than you ever have, but you won't feel busy doing it because you'll feel calm and exhilarated.
Yeah, I love how you said that it's interesting, something I picked up on, I'll just tap into. You said it's affecting all the systems, the stress hormones, the adrenaline, the cortisol, all of that. It's affecting all of the systems. And you were referring to the body systems, and we're in business, so I start thinking systems, right? Because I'm in business.
Right.
So it's like, it's actually affecting all the systems. It's affecting the systems in the body. It's affecting the systems in your relationships. It's affecting the systems in the business. It's affecting the systems at the nation's level, in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's like, oof, the stress is affecting all of the systems. It's like in there. It's like the biggest disease there is.
Yep.
And we think we just have to live with it. And I'm calling it out like BS.
We think we have to live with it, or we think we have to do all these other things to fix it, and that's wrong. It's not going to fix it. In fact, some of my clients, it makes them anxious to think, oh, I've got to take an hour to meditate. I don't have time for that. They freak out. They don't have time to add one more thing. And that's the beauty of what I teach and you teach. Like, I use the bowspring method. What you have taught me for my body, I use it in everything I do. I use it over there in the kitchen when I clean. I use it when I'm painting. I use it when I do everything. Swimming.
Computer.
Playing my violin. Everything. My toes are down. I like everything you've taught me. It's like a constant practice. And that's the same thing with pressure free. It's a daily discipline. You're always doing it. You're not ever not doing it because you know it's saving your life.
It's a lifestyle. It's super human. Right?
Superhuman lifestyle. Oh my God.
Yeah, our superhumanlifestyle.com. Superhumanlifestyle.com.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, we don't have that website, so don't go there.
No, we don't.
If it's somebody else's, it's like not ours, and don't buy their stuff. Buy ours.
But maybe we ought to get it, Lena. Brainstorm.
Check it out. Deanna Riley's my tech girl. Whoop whoop. She can check it out. She's my tech girl. I'll tell you what. When you get to the point in your business and you got when you're around other superhumans and you can help, they have superhuman abilities that complement your superhuman abilities. Like Elle complements me. I am fire. I am earth. You are water. You are air. We complement each other really well. I lost track there because when I start to fall in love with people, I'm like, I lose track. You know how love makes you blind and deaf and all the things.
Love it.
What was I talking about? Systems and
systems. I want to come back to this systems idea because
I'll just drop the event real quick again. August 28th. If you're just joining us, August 28th, next Wednesday here in Denver.
Yes.
So go ahead. What were we going to say about systems?
Yes, systems. So business systems. One of the things that I teach, because I teach sales teams, I teach in corporations, and what I teach, we call stress the silent killer. It's not just killing our hearts. It's killing every cell of our body, our brains, everything. But also it kills our business negotiation ability. We're in a defensive mode when we're in fight or flight for hours, okay, instead of open and receiving, so that people don't trust us when we're in that mode. So if you want more in your business, if you want more money in your life, like you're closed off in fight or flight. You're afraid of no matter what level your bank account is, you're afraid you're going to lose it.
Yep.
You're afraid. And so when we can move into pressure free.
This is so good. And if you're holding on to money tight, holding on like afraid you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
Right?
You may have $38 million in the bank, but you're still stressed out.
You can't let more in. Right? Super holding tight.
Yep. And you're actually repelling customers when you're in fight or flight.
You're repelling people. Yeah. It's not the real you. We live in a world now, people want the authentic you. They don't want to fake you. They don't want to half-seas you. It's very hard to find people now who are super present and with you.
Yeah.
And so if you're not in stress hormones, you can be more present.
Yeah.
You can be more open. You can be more connected and engaging. You can hear. When you're in stress hormones, you can't hear. So you might try to be building your business, talking to somebody or doing some sort of negotiation, and they said something, you didn't even hear them.
Yep. Yep.
Totally didn't hear them.
Yeah. One of the things I teach is, are you rehearsing? Are you rehearsing? Yeah, they know it.
They'll feel it.
Mm-hmm. Most people are rehearsing what they want to say next instead of actually listening to the person, because they're in that fight or flight, like, I got to get this right. I got to get this right kind of thing. So you're not even listening to the person.
Yeah. It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Huge. So good. So, Elle, thank you so much. Let me ask you this. What has been the number one benefit of stepping into becoming the real you more and more and more?
This is going to sound strange, but as we age, sometimes you'll say, oh, I sound like my mother, or I sound like my father. Clients will say this too. When I became totally pressure free, I felt for the first time in my life I was me. I was me. Because the things we say that about are the things we didn't like about our parents. It's not the good things. And so I felt like for the first time, I was authentically me. I wasn't this combination of these two other people or anything like that. I felt completely liberated to be myself. It was really a cool feeling. And many of my clients have said the same thing, like, I'm finding the real me. Especially clients of mine who were somehow abused by their parents and didn't want to pass that abuse on to their kids. Like, I don't want to be like my dad.
Yeah.
So that it was, I think, is the biggest thing. It's like I felt like I was really me, whatever that craziness is.
All of it. I love all of it. All the crazy pieces.
All the crazy pieces, including this crazy mole that popped up, you know?
That's her third eye portal. Hello. That's not a mole. That's a third eye portal.
It's of the wart variety, so all these moles in my face are like actually wart variety moles.
Planetary wartium portal. I don't know what that means. Okay, I'm getting weird. So I'm going to share with me, since I've been pressure free, the number one thing. It's interesting. Same thing. I would have expected something else to come up. Is I'm a lot nicer to myself. I'm a lot kinder to myself. I'm a lot softer to myself.
I can attest to that for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not as hard on myself.
Mm-hmm. We met 2 years ago, and we've talked every weekday for 2 full years. So we've seen each other grow and change in 2 years' time. It's amazing.
So you've seen me be less hard on myself?
Yes, definitely.
Thanks.
Definitely.
I appreciate that.
And another thing I've seen is like your face is released.
Yeah. Less worry. Less worry about life. You know, when I met Elle, I was definitely very worried about survival. I was definitely very fight or flight. Like she said, no matter how much money I had at the bank, no matter how much business I had, no matter how much was going on, I was still scared. And so I know a lot of my clients are like that. Even though things are coming, they're always taken care of, they're still scared. And so
that doesn't mean that we don't start to get scared, but we don't release the stress hormones over it.
Exactly. There's still, as a business owner, as you grow and you do things, you can start to watch the pattern, you know, and I have old patterns come up from, it's all childhood stuff, growing up without any money and, you know, welfare, not having food in the house, being, you know, my parents winning the lottery, losing it all, getting divorced, like so many money traumas. And that's exactly why I teach what I teach, right? Is because once you go through things and once you realize like, oh, I can create whatever I want. I can do it in a way now with pressure free that's actually very enjoyable. I can enjoy the creation process and not do it from a place of survival, but a place of like creation. Like
that is huge. That is huge.
Yeah, I'm not building my business out of since pressure free. I'm not building my business out of a place of survival. I'm building my business out of a place of creation. It is so empowering.
Yeah.
It is so empowering because I'm not as hard on myself. I'm not, you know, in fight or flight. I'm just creating. it's a very empowering questions. You teach empowering questions, right? I get to ask empowering questions instead of defeating questions.
Right.
Um, so yeah, this has been the biggest thing. I'm a lot nicer to myself. I would say I still have room to grow on being a little bit easier on myself sometimes. I work on it. It's real subtle now. It's not as like the gross, like I'm not sharing it probably as much, but there is this little subtle thing of little internal pressure. And it's only because I really want to juice life. I just like to get a lot out of life. So I'm like
Yeah.
trying to do as much as I can all the time. And so I'm learning with pressure free of more of that being state and allowing things to come, right? The manifestation of just allowing things to come instead of having to pressure and push through.
The force. You're becoming more powerful instead of forceful.
Oof, that's what pressure free does too, right? It's like the power you become with the attractor.
Power. You
Yeah,
have an internal power that is unstoppable. That's how I feel. Oh, here's a little thing, because I know sleep is a big deal. Maybe people watching, like, sleep is a big deal for you. It was a big deal for me, and I thought like I needed this much sleep every night. I was like commando about it, messing up my whole rest of the family just for my sleep, right? And what I became when I became pressure free, I needed far less actual hours, because I was, for the first time in my whole life, getting a real night's sleep. That totally changed my life. So I don't even look at the clock. Like, when I come out, I'm going to Utah first. I have two speaking engagements the 2 days before I even get to you. So it's like boom, boom, boom. And I noticed like one of the timing is kind of late, and then the next morning I'm speaking about. So at first I was like, in the old me, I would have been triggered over that. Oh my God, how am I going to do that? The time thing would have just like, and I was like, oh, I got this. This is easy. Be no big deal.
I have all the time in the world.
All the time in the world. In any given second, we have all the time in the whole world.
Exactly. At any given second, we have all the time in the world. I love that. It's like one of my favorite things this week. A lot of my clients have been challenged with time this week. And of course, because you and I have had conversations about time anxiety recently, because with pressure free, you start to notice over time, you become pressure free. And then you start to notice the things that maybe aren't triggering the stress hormones, but could,
right,
or pushing you against the potential. And time, I realized time was the thing for me. I was like, and then I started doing some more research and realized for the feminine women, especially, it's grandfather clock, father time. It's ruled by Saturn in astrology, Saturnian. It's very father. It's a structure. It's that kind of masculine. So I noticed that women have a tendency to feel pressured with time than men seem to be. And there's other studies about it and stuff. So it's really fascinating. So it's been something that I've luckily been able to talk about a lot this week, right? I'm dealing with real life, helping other people with it. And the more, we get pressure free around that and just choose to create whatever we want with our time, right?
Yeah. I would say that 95% of all of my clients have a time issue.
Yeah.
Because it's just how we've built our society today. It's not like it was 200 years ago.
Would you be willing to talk when you come next week on time?
Yeah.
I really believe, I know a lot of the people that will be there from my community will really value that, because time is directly related to how you value yourself, how much money you make, all the things. I recently did a calculation because I heard that Warren Buffett did this. I've been, I want to learn more and more and more about all the people. Like Warren Buffett's really good. The one thing he's really good at is like doing stuff with money. So I'm like, if you want to learn more about money stuff, listen to what he's got to say, right? Fascinating. He's real simple man, just kind of knew what steps to take. And I'm real fascinated by it.
Didn't he read every single book on money in his public library?
Yeah, and he has a real small staff. He doesn't have I don't think a computer or cell phone, and he just reads and doesn't make some decisions, and just what he does for what little he has to do it with is phenomenal. And yeah, I just lost, I forget what I was going to say about him, but something about being pressure free and the event time. I know. So he was talking about calculating when he, at one point in his life, he calculated how many hours he had left about on the planet. And so I did the same. And, I thought if I live to 80, which I'll probably live longer because I'm going to be a sexy old lady. We'll still look at it. Just saying.
And I already am.
Calling it. Boom. Right. Say I have about 40 years left or so. That's a little over, quite a bit over, but 350,000 hours left. Right. So I'll have like 350 to 400,000 hours left, we'll say. And what do I want to do? So it's interesting. It's totally changed my perspective. Because now I'm like, if something comes to me, I get to decide of one of those 350,000 plus hours, do I want to fill one of those hours with that thing? Yes or no? It's real clear to me now.
I love that so much. Oh, I love that so much. Wow. And it's interesting. It's fascinating with different personalities too. I'm coaching my youngest son right now. He's never formally gone through the course. So we did the time session yesterday. Oh. And so when he gets his syllabus from his professor, he's not at school yet. He takes every single assignment and he puts it into his calendar. So he has everything. This is how he thinks. So, we all have different stressors. His are if the professor changes something.
Oh gosh, that was me when I'm like him. So I would do that actually. We didn't have the electronic calendar back then, of course, when I was in college, but all the assignments, everything, like day one, it was like week one, all the syllabi I sat down and everything was mapped out, and it was like then highlighted pink or yellow or blue, depending on the course. It was like laid out. And that's like, if you were to see my calendar now, you know how I am.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same way. Like from now until December almost, it's like mapped out.
Yeah. And it's really incredible.
Yeah. And some people kind of like, some people are really appreciative. They're like, if they can't get in my calendar for a while, they're cool. And sometimes people are kind of like, there's this one woman I want to meet with, for example. She's amazing. And we're just like, we really want to connect. She won't schedule with me because she's like, it takes too long to get in calendar with you. I'm like, well, just get in the calendar and you'll get in with me.
Find it.
It'll come at some point. But she's like, no, it takes too long. I'm like, okay. So so we'll talk sometime. Actually, we see each other in person.
And that is one of a great time tool right there, is that you and I use Time Trade. So I just give people my link. And actually, Deanna, who you just mentioned, she gave me a great suggestion. I'm going to create a domain name so that people can remember it. But people just go to my calendar and book in.
Speakwithelle.com.
Speakwithelle.com. Oh, right. And then I'm going to do another one for my actual Zoom link, so they can remember that too. So yeah, so speakwithelle.com. You can just.
What about zoomwithelle.com?
Zoomwithelle.com. Yeah. So then it's all like clockwork. It all just works. But I've had so many professionals in all kinds of fields say, "Oh my gosh, your calendar is amazing," because then you're not on the phone back or texting back and forth. Well, are you free Wednesday? Are you free? I'm not. Are you? Going back and forth.
Oh yeah.
It takes up so much time, and we don't have that kind of time. I'm not going to spend an hour of my, however, 200,000 hours I may have left on that.
Girl, you could be to 120. You had no idea, girl. Look, she's all Barbied up. I mean, hey.
See, I love this woman because I'm old enough to be her mother. Treats me like a contemporary. It's so nice.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, you're my girl. I love it. I learned, what I will say, and this is something that in any woman who is of any age, I highly recommend surrounding yourself with women and men of all sorts of ages.
Me too, yes.
Because you don't want to, the one thing I'm missing right now, so I need some of those peeps. I need some of those like youngsters, like the teenagers, 20s. Like I don't have any of those.
I got a ton of those.
So I learned through, it's like by proxy, but it's not like direct experience. I need to I don't know what I got to do to be around them. Like, what do? You go to like things that they do. What do they do?
They could learn so much from you, especially Bowspring.
I would love, that would be super fun. Well, I mean, that's, I've had opportunity here and there.
Yeah. When you've come to my events, the young people that are there, they just love you.
So I got to stay up. I got to stay up past 8 p.m. I guess probably. I gotta stop getting up at 3 a.m. and going to bed at 8. Okay, let's start there. So here's what I will say. I get along real well with the elderly.
You do the early bird suppers.
Early bird suppers.
I love it.
It's like
I love having
supper and the youngsters are doing like happy hour. I'm like, okay, I gotta observe them from afar with my Salisbury steak.
I'm with you. I always put a lot of people in my life of all ages. I think it's really important, the wisdom of our elders. I was raised to really respect our elders, and I love to learn from them, like learning from Warren Buffett. I have several mentors in my life, and I'm so appreciative of their wisdom for me.
So yeah, so grateful. I mean, I've learned so much from you. It's like all sorts of things about, life in general, because you've had more life experience, about being a woman, about what is it like to get older as a woman, and what are the different phases and stages and seasons and experiences. That's very valuable.
Yeah.
I think, and then also, I'm kind of like, I'm one of those people who loves, in a scientific term, it would be called like a longitudinal study. Like I love learning about things as they happen over time. So it could be everything from over time, like from Egyptian time till now, and the phases and things that have changed and how it's impacted and the connections and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Or just even one generation, the differences and how that's impacted where we are now. And so that kind of stuff that I get to learn and you get to remind me of, like one thing, for example, like you told me once that I guess if I would have thought about it, I might have known, but I didn't really know, was that it used to be normal to hitchhike.
Yeah.
In our country, that it used to be safe enough and typical enough and normal enough to hitchhike.
Yeah, my parents picked up hitchhikers all the time and put them in the back with us little kids, like total strangers.
So that tells me something about what's happened in our nation over time, right? And that to me is very valuable information and useful. And I'm really interested in how things happen over time. It's, longitudinal stuff. I'm very fascinated by it. It just feeds my like learning juices.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something else we get to have together. So we're just going on and on, like we're just like chatting like we do all the time.
Every morning.
Because we're pressure free, baby. So come on, we're not only on next Wednesday in Denver, you're going to learn pressure free. I'm also going to teach you the bowspring system. We're going to do a short little workshop on how to sit, stand, and walk so that you can, keep your body in a position. A lot of people are like, what do you do? How do you work out? And I'm like, yeah, I do work out some and I eat well, but most of it has to do with the way I sit, stand, and walk all day, because that's most of what's going on with the body is sit, stand, walk. So we're going to talk a lot about that and how to show up more present, in your body so that you can have more power everywhere in life. Basically, your power is in your present moment. It's not, in the past or the future. And then Elle's going to come in and teach you the tools, the tips, the strategies to get yourself knowing exactly what to do when you're triggered, so you don't release stress hormones, so that you can do exactly what you want to do in life, whatever that is.
Yep. It's so powerful, and that's how you become superhuman.
That's how you become the real superhuman, you, baby. I love you. I'm so excited to see you next week. We get to have like a little sleepover and host an event together, give hugs, high fives, eat some food, break some bread, and make the world a better place, right?
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll see you. Actually, I'll talk to you in the morning. We talk every day. I'll see everybody else. Listen, if you're looking to come to the event, we'll put the link below so you can sign up.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we've already got people signing up today. So get your spot quick.
There's only 20 spots, so you better get your spot.
20 spots because that's only all the space can fill. So, and we're gonna feed you, and we want to make sure we can have enough food too. So make sure you sign up. All right. Love you guys. Bye, Elle. Bye, world.